Hey, welcome back to my series on Transport Fever 2, Race to the North map. We are still down here in Southampton, but we're moving on today. I just want to update you on, we're getting new vehicles. Okay, cool. We have advanced to 1870, so we've got some new horse-drawn carriages, it looks like. A new passenger carriage as well. Okay, so we've moved on in time a little, and that means that these truck stations for our horses and carriages that are making deliveries. Now, this is the mail delivery centre, which is doubling up with some food deliveries as well to areas that are outside the range of the station. And our mail volumes are fairly high. We get the odd one every now and then still that drops in, but their primary job now is to deliver food into here and bring back the one or two mail that's around. Okay, so let's have a look at these three lines again. Well, we're full because that was all blocked up, right? And the Totten mail has 88 to pick up, but no food, just a whole heap of mail. And then Southampton has most of the food going across to here. Okay. Let's have a look at how many are on the line. We have 6. What if I put another 3 on there? And how many are on Southampton? 3. What if I do something crazy like 6 there? And see if I can get these numbers down. How many are on Fawley? It's probably only a... Oh, they're waiting down this end as well. Okay, I better check Southampton. Fawley. Don't wait. Did I mess up here? No, I told them not to wait, right? Yeah, okay. And then I'll just quickly check here. No, they're not waiting either. All right. We'll check back in these in a little while because that is kind of going crazy at the moment. Now, I had the same problem down here. Oh, yeah, they were coming down here. So I must have ordered more carriages for down here and they just got blocked up. We've got 15 now. So they are transporting down to this one. And that's because this is filled right out now, right down to the fish, which we are delivering the fish, and we are expanding across this side of the road now as well. You can see as they overtake, they upgrade the roads, showing me where they want to expand to. Now this has how much fish on it? 170 on a train that can carry 100. Why is it 105? Is that the going rate for my 21 cars? Yeah, 156. Okay, so we did get a new engine. Here we go here, the Central Pacific. So I will upgrade the engine and I'll duplicate it and get a second train on the line. Now, I have made a slight adjustment here. They were going to the furthest left. And because I put another train on the line, it's going to make things worse in the short term. But they're now coming back on the left here. There's a signal there. So I would like to squeeze maybe... Well, if that's the stack there, if there is a train stuck behind it, we can actually tell him to come out to there. And this is the out. And then I'd like a stack maybe in here if I can, from this signal down here. So I might be able to get 2 trains to sit in there if needed in the future. So the idea here is that the oil will pull into the left here. He's sharing, he already picked this one. If he had just waited a second, this one would have been available. Is that one available to him? Let's have a look at the line. Yep, so he could have picked that one. But he is out of the way while he's parked there, which means this guy should have come down. But that means there's no signal. There's no signal here, so he gets right of way. Let's do that. So that should run a lot more smooth. Now these guys should be able to run in and out of this first platform while we can run in and out of these back platforms here. Now I'll just quickly check. This is our new engine, by the way. Much nicer. Look at that. Okay, what I wanted to do is just make sure they're only on this platform. No, I've got them sharing as well. I'm inclined to sort of say, look, for now, just use this one. And if he's parked here waiting to come in, these guys can still come out. Yeah, I think I will take. I'll take 1 and 2 off there. Oh no! What did I do? What did I do? Oh no, he's going the right way. He is using that. That's fine. Okay. That's fine. All right. We should now be able to get 200 fish out of here. I think the problem will be that we've got 300 fish coming out of here, which is 3 trains. So maybe I picked the right time for a new train to come out, which would be now. These volumes are quite large for these small trains that can only carry 100. So this is going to be super busy here. The 3 platforms I have will have trains in them all the time now. Okay. I did want, well, I could use the length of this train here as a measuring tool. So what I'm thinking is I need to be as efficient with my movement as possible. So there, a train can park. And so what I want is a signal just here. And then I can use this train as a measuring tool as well, just to see like how far, oh, here he comes now anyway. I want to see if he fits in that section in between these 2 signals here. And he does. Beautiful. Okay. Perfectly measured out since. All right. Super busy little sideline here. Okay, one of the things we have been able to deal with is the sand. The sand is no longer an issue like it was before, but you'll see that all of my trains, other than that sideline, is the one that I missed. I think I've upgraded everything. So all of my trains have got this new train upgrade, and we don't have any issues here. We have a little bit of meat sitting here, but you can see that this station is like, it's humming. We don't have many trains waiting, which is good. He's coming like straight around the corner here. He'll get a wait in a second. Okay, let's deal with some of the changes that have been made. As we do, did this start to come down? Not yet, Sims, not yet. But they are not queuing up here. We can always take more off later, but I just need to get this work down. It is, we're queuing up now. What are we queuing up for? It's all mail here. Oh, it's a heap of mail here. Look at all the mail. That's crazy. Okay, so we are queuing a little. That means I've got enough carriages on that line. And we're not stopping down here anymore. Look how far they've expanded too, guys. Look, they've expanded all the way down this back road here. And I did have a bus service down here that was super busy. So what I did was I split it. So I've got one bus service running here, and then I've got another bus service running here, and then another bus service running here. They're really just a couple of stops. I can show you the stops by clicking on buses. Yeah, so like this loop here just has a drop-off point there and 2 pickups. And this has got two pickups here. And then this one's got 1 pickup here, and they all drop off at either of these. Okay. So we are distributing passengers into the areas now that are not covered by the stations, and I'm really happy with this residential area. If I could just get this cargo down. Okay, we did a little bit of rebalancing. First of all, I've realized that this produces 400. It produces 400. It needs 800. It needs 800 sand, oil sand, and it produces 400 fuel and 400 sand. Now, this works perfectly as long as you're distributing the 400 fuel and the 400 sand. If you're only supplying 200 sand, then it will never go up to level 4. If you're only supplying half the sand, then it will stall out. You actually need to supply. And what I mean by supply is with this one, this industry in particular, it's not a problem if you've got multiple inward types. So demand. So we've got a demand here for cattle or fish, and I'm supplying both cattle and fish. And there's no issue at all when you're supplying multiple demands to this meat processing plant. The real problem exists when you are supplying 2 different types of goods from this factory to two separate places demand. So the city demands the fuel and the combats demand the sand. Okay, so it produces 400 sand and 400 fuel. And our city wants more than 800 fuel. It wants 1,000, okay? Now, I'll never produce enough fuel for this city, but let's just say that we will only produce 400 fuel to this city. That's the maximum we'll end up producing. Okay, what about Brighton though? I was thinking maybe we could split the fuel between here and Brighton, but there is a little bit sneaking up here, which I want to switch off. So there is 11 sneaking up here on the mail route, and they're supplying a little bit in here. Okay, at the moment I'm not really fast, but then I was thinking, well, in the south here, how do we get fuel in the south here? Okay, let's deal with the sand. The sand is producing 400 sand, and look what I've done here. I've put in a second construction materials, and that's because if you supply 400 sand here, okay, if you supply 400 sand, that will totally max it out. For 400 sand, it will produce 800 conmats. Now that's crazy, right? So for every one fuel that you produce, one full fuel production, you can supply one full construction materials. And one full construction materials will supply like twice as much fuel. So this is one of them is producing 800 from 400 sand. So 800 conmats is the demand that Hastings has, for example. And then the other one, the second one, will supply London. It's 800. Now it's not at 800 yet, but I've actually stopped London from growing by building a train wall around the city. I've stopped it from expanding. Okay, so I need another 400 sand to go to the second one. Okay, I'm already supplying 400 here. I need 400 to go here. Now it's split it a little bit at the moment, so it's not running at full max. It has split it across the two. But I know that I need a fuel for Brighton. So what I did was there was a fish down here and I swapped it out for a fuel refinery. Now Brighton's going to need a fuel, and I thought this would be a fair place to put it. You might think that, oh, well, he's got a whole heap of fuel that's needed in this city. And that is true, but it's not over this side. There really isn't any fuel over here. All the fuel's over this side. So I will need to ship the fuel out of here. And I'll need to ship the oil sands into here. Okay, so let's deal with the oil sands. I put in a third. Now I did test to see if it connects, and it does, but I haven't connected it yet because I don't want to supply from the third one yet. But essentially what will happen is more oil sand will come down here, and then I will need to deliver oil sand into here. Okay, now all of that seems reasonable until you realize that the 400 sand that we take out of here and drop into here, so we'll have enough sand from one fuel to fill one, and the other fuel. So the Southampton fuel will fill this one, and the Brighton fuel will fill this one with sand. The crazy part is each one of these will supply 800. So we'll have 800, supplied to Hastings, and 800 supplied to London. Okay, so that was a big change by doubling up the conmats and also doubling up the fuel with the second fuel. Now I was tempted to put the other fuel here and just doubling it up, but I thought this would make things a little bit more difficult for me. So it's a little bit more of a challenge. So the fish that was here, I moved it down here on the coast. I've put in a station ready to go. I haven't done anything with it, and I have extended the block um, a little bit further down here around this station for them to expand in this direction. Okay. Oh, I put in a station here ready for the waste, and that's work in progress. And the last thing I did to change things around was the meat that's here has been swapped with the food. The food and the meat have been swapped around. I didn't want, here was my thing, I didn't want a fuel and a meat sitting in a city that wants fuel and meat. I just felt that that was just too simplified. I've got over here a fuel and a meat, but I don't have the food here. The food's way out here. And so I thought I could swap these over, and it's not as simple as just getting the food to here and then delivering into town, and getting the fuel to here and just delivering into town. I thought, if anyone's going to play this later, I thought that was just far too simplified. Okay. One more change, and that was the forest has gone here, the logging camp. What was here? There was a tools factory. No, there was a sawmill. Then there was a logging camp out here somewhere. And then there was a tools factory that needed logs. Okay, so I got rid of the wood that was out here as well, the logging camp. I swapped that out. And so I've taken the whole logging line out, and I've swapped it with the steel to tools. Now, this one here wants 400 steel, and it will produce 800 tools. Now, the standard tools would have produced 400. So this potentially can produce twice as much tools. This is the extended industries version of it, and I thought that seeing I'm testing the extended industries, it would be better for me to use this one instead of the base game one. And I would also like to see how easy it is to produce 400 steel from your waste, because the 400 steel here can be supplied to here and do the tools. But I'm going to need 800 waste. Now, waste comes exclusively from supplying your industries. So once your industries are supplied, you'll get a lot of waste turnover. We can see here that over here in the fuel area, we've got a mixture of let me get off there. Okay, so we've got a mixture of mail in there for the residential, but there is a little bit of waste in there for the fuel. And I'd like to find out how much waste are we producing. So, and unlike the mail, it's not like a whole map wide issue. I'll be able to get rid of all the waste in here, transport it over to the recycling place, produce steel out of it. Unlike mail, where I'm limited with how much mail I can do. But we're up to 120 odd mail now, just from, and I still only have Southampton involved. Okay, so there's major rebalancing, and based on this rebalancing, I will probably share the map now. Now, I will do a rebalancing in this central region, and then this northern region up here I'll do later. So I'll probably do an update when I get into this region here and make some adjustments. But with what I know now, like there's some really interesting combos. For every 2 fuel, you'll get 800 each of combats. The food is 800 that we're producing. Yeah, and we've got enough oil sands here to run the 2 fuel with just 3 oil sands. Okay, so today we had dealt with the Conmat's problem in that we are bringing all of our sand up here from just one fuel refinery, and then we've got a lot of Conmats heading back, and so we've got a fair bit of shared. Why is that a Conmats train? What are you doing, Sims? Okay, I might have messed up. These are meant... Oh, I know why. Okay, I was testing whether I could deliver the Conmats in these, which I can, and pick up mail. But when I did it, I didn't realize that there was no mail in this area. There's literally no mail in this area. There's waste, and there's some mail just out here and up the top up here, but nothing really in range of this station here. So yeah, I was testing to see if I could get mail to come down, and that was a mistake, wasn't it? All right, so let's fix that up. So there's 2 trains here. And what are they? So we'll need construction materials, which is flat cars. Like this one. Carries 7 for 50. My modded one, it doesn't carry enough. It only carries 5. So if I go 160 meters on this, it only carries 85. But if we go 160 on this, carries 133. Okay, so we'll fix that one up and we'll fix this one up. I probably could have just replaced them. We are here. 154, okay. Oh, and they're bringing to here. That's our passenger train. Okay, so London's had an upgrade. We've got a line here that can bring their second goods in for their commercial. And then we've got a line out here for the construction materials coming around here. And we have just one train on this side because it's only half the distance. Okay. Yeah, that test did not work. Okay, let's go again. We've got our passenger trains. We've got our Conmats train. And we've got a line open here. And we've got a line open here. the line through the middle will more than likely be grain in the future going to this food production. Okay. All right. So we have fixed up a lot of issues. Look at that, fixed. That problem is solved. The next problem we'll have is too many on there. But I don't mind running too many at the moment, just for now. Is our fish problem solved? Our fish problem is solved. Oh, we've got a passenger train on this line too now. Oh, that's an old train, right? We'll leave him for now. What sort of condition is he in? He's still in very good. So we're moving passengers 11 over to. I thought that if I put the passenger train in, it might promote expansion into here, and I don't know. I think it helps. And I think I'm stopping them from doing anything there at the moment. I'm trying to push them up this way. Okay. Looks good, looks good. All right, I'm happy with all that. Bit of a build up of fuel here. Not a lot though. We can deal with all that. Okay. Our big problem for today that I want to tackle. Brighton. The reason I want to tackle Brighton is I've kind of got lines that are ready to come down in this direction. And all I've got running at the moment is a passenger train. That's all I've got. But I've got a line sort of set up for the steel and into here. And then I've got a line on the inside. I was just trying to get things level here. But I've got a line on the inside ready to come into Hastings here. And Hastings has had its upgrade. And I'm pretty happy with the Hastings upgrade. Got a weird thing happening with the ground here. We've got our passenger trains waiting here to come in. Now they're the only things coming in, but we do have our Commatch train which also crosses here as well, just like we do at Southampton. So here's our Commatch trains here, and they're bringing the Commatch that is coming down. Passenger trains. We've actually switched the carriages to, these carry a little bit more because they're smaller. And our engines have no problem with the weight. Okay, so there's a little bit of delay here like there is down at Southampton, but it's not too bad. It's not too bad. And we've got a lot of capacity there. And we've got a lot of capacity to link out of here. Now, this is kind of a nightmare job because I've sort of got two sides to this that wants to connect. Okay, I'm going to start on the easy side. So I'm just going to pause it here. The easy side will be here at New Haven. Okay. Basically, we want to drop off food and fuel to this city. We will want a platform, sorry, a cargo building. We get a link from this. Yes, we do. We'll do that then. Okay. Can I have a link up here? Yes, I can. Okay. All right, so we've got that, but that's not, I don't want to share the cargo and passenger. So I want to 4-track this. So basically I want to bring this in a little tighter, say from, Well, yeah, it will be a little tighter. But the easy way to do this is to bring it... Well, I can't bring it into here. Okay, a little bit of straight. A little bit of straight. And then into the inside. Not bad. And then we want to curve this in, but we don't want to hit this one. So what I'll do is a little bit of straight here and tell this to curve in. And that seems all right like that. Okay, we'll do that. Just want to make sure that there was no contact there. Now this one will run around, and this will be the cargo line. And this one can pull straight out here. And do that. Yeah. And then double track around here. Okay. All right, this station, I think the easiest thing to do for now is to put a cargo platform in here, but it's only 3 sections. I made the mistake of only making this 120 back in the day. I didn't think it would be a very busy station. So let's kill this whole line in between, and we'll reconnect it in a second with an extension. Okay, so we'll need extra track, platform. We'll go cargo building on the end. Too big. Okay, cargo building on the end. And a passenger extension, what, these little ones? Yeah, I probably could have made this bigger and out further, right? Not to worry, we will blow a couple of buildings up here. Well, I should have finished this while I'm at it. Okay, cargo. Now, I'm thinking I'll need to deliver food and fuel into here and food and fuel into here. I don't know whether I want just like a short line to deliver here and go back, and then a long line to come all the way around, or a transfer, like transfer just to here, and then the other one does the other side. That might be the way to do it, especially seeing this side is like half the length, so they'll be able to transfer a lot. Okay, we lose a couple of buildings there. You know, the alternative was to put in a bigger station here and pull it away from the road, but you know, for 2 buildings, I can live with that. All right. Okay, it looks even. Okay, now we want cargo into here. So it kind of sticks with it pretty much to about here. So when we want to go to the rocks, especially if we want any more lines to come around here in the future. And then this one will go into here. And like I was saying, it could be two separate lines. So what I'm going to do, based on if it was two separate lines, this would be the setup. And if it's not two separate lines and they want to go past, this would be the setup. Okay, and then cargo, I have no choice but to put cargo into this line here. And into here. Again, with the option of if it was going both ways. Okay, now this is where it gets a little tricky, right? What do we have on this side? Yeah, cargo coming this way for the fuel and the food. So I'll want this to be cargo, or if I do it exactly like what I've done with the other ones, the other cities, this is a double line that comes into here and then runs down further into a secondary cargo into here with a cargo on this side. I don't think that's possible. No, but if I run the cargo right in here, oh, that's... If I run the cargo, they're going to be sharing this platform, and that's not good. What I mean by these guys are going to be coming in onto this center platform, which would be cargo here. And then so would any cargo coming around the corner here. Whatever the case is, I don't want the passengers coming into here anymore. On either end, I want the passengers moved out and out. Okay. So for now, I can live with this as a passenger on this side for now, and we can move you over later. For you, buddy, you can't. So the first thing we're going to do is sever this end. And we'll back it up a little out of the way. I would say all the way to the bridge. Okay, that's out of the way. That's first. Second, we're happy for you to stay there, but we want to get rid of that. And then I guess I can get rid of this platform and the people will move. Hopefully we don't lose them. But if we do, then... No, they've just moved to the other platform while this construction work goes on. Okay, so what I'm thinking, this is a little bit different than... This is what I mean by this is a lot more difficult than the other two stations. The other two stations were really focused on one side with a small backside of cargo, and a lot of the cargo was running through to the backside. Whereas this one really needs both-sided cargo and both-sided passengers, and our town lines are not just like a single line like this one's got a double station here, which makes it all the more complex. Okay, I'm back. I have moved the passenger station over to here, and I have gone back and connected it to the existing passenger line. And then I've done exactly the same on the other side to the existing passenger line. Now, instead of putting a passenger station on this side, which can't connect into over here, I'm going to use I'm going to use both sides of this. So on the Southampton side, I need to pick Southampton to Brighton, and then I tell it on the Brighton side to use the furthest, which is 5. And that should fix that. And then while I'm here, I can fix the Brighton, Hastings to Brighton. That's that one there. And on the Brighton side, I move it to 4. Okay, so I still have 3 platforms of cargo on the left-hand side. I have 1, 2, 3. Not great to use that one though. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cargo platforms this side of the... We could really call it 4 with a possible 5th. We still have an error. Train 4 has no path. Well, there was something weird going on here. And I put one of the trains jumped the tracks. So that's a part of this problem. But if I tell him he can come all the way down to here, he'll be able to come through here and into there as soon as that train gets out of the way. Okay. Now, everything else should be running normal. So I'm going to press play and let them sort themselves out for a second. Now, I did leave this gap here. Do I need to make sure he's crossing? He is crossing, right? So why do we still have a problem? Oh, now that he's out of the way, let's tell you to go back and forward. Fixed. He just needed a reset. Okay. Now I have a cargo option here, right? Rail, tracks. If I do that, now I want a signal here, definitely. So I need to move 1, 2. And then I can peel away from here and join this one. That works. Can I get a 3rd point here? Kind of, but not really. What if we just go into there? Not really. What if I said from there, what's your angle that you would want to? What about there? And then there. Let's have a look at that. I like that. Okay, now this is the gap station. So the actual station is here. I don't think they'll clash, will they? When a train pulls into here. Now, I'm thinking that this one could actually come around here. And so we could run, yeah, so we actually have more options here to come down to a whole nother platform here. Now the other thing is that this straight through could come down into here. Okay, I am back. We are at the mail sorting centre in Brighton, and we currently have the mail train that comes up along with our Southampton passenger connection. We also have the Hastings passenger connection using the other side of this platform, along with our town connections in Brighton. So we don't have any cargo that is currently being transported here, but we have plenty of cargo options. It is a little messy. We have some lines coming out of here to connect to Farmer, and this will need food and fuel here. However, I would like this area just to be food, and I might move some of the fuel industry that's tied up in here. There's only a little bit. I think I might push it over and then bring some of the food that's over here and swap them so that this is predominantly a food area at New Haven and predominantly a fuel area here at Farmer. Oh, I didn't notice that. Okay, but what I do want to show you is that I got a connection over to the fuel here, which means I don't need its own station here. Let's lock that down before you forget. Lock the road. Yeah, okay. So what I'm thinking is I could have another track here, and this one would deal with food, and this one could come in here and drop fuel, or come into here and drop fuel. And then these lines would predominantly be food lines in. Now we would need fuel out of here, but I do have an option of, say, taking fuel from this side over to here and then a fuel train ferrying it back and then disconnecting this one. Just depends on how much I want to put through this one platform here. We'll see how busy it is. We've got straight through tracks to be able to connect to the waste and steel, and then take the steel back and bring the tools all the way through to Hastings here. And Hastings has all of its tools down this side, which we could bring the fish back and the mail back into here. The food needs to run down here to the meat. Could run on this outside line, meat to food into here. So we've got dedicated space here for that. We've got a dedicated space for cargo on this backside as well. Okay, I think we're done. I mean, I think I'm ready to start with cargo on all these lines and start making connections now. Now, I have just glimpsed at a lot of mail sitting here, right? Wow. 400 mail. That's because we've got one mail train not upgraded. We'll go to Central Pacific, 156 meters. I know there's got to be a better way to do the mail than these cars. We're bringing fuel up, and if I use these instead, that would cut the fuel off, right? And would we get better capacity at 105? They'll end up stacking out of here. I never anticipated more trains here. So I need to isolate here. And with 3 trains on the line, this is now going to become... It's not using this track here, is it? What is using that track there? Oh no, that is the mail. It is on a double track. Oh, it can't come out of there. Where's it going to come out of then? Damn. It will come out of here. Okay. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you back here next time, where we will quickly check on here. I think this is much better under control now. Whenever goods come in, they'll drop in and we'll be ready for them. And same here, goods just got dropped off here. These trains are going to slow my trains down, but I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.